The prophecy of the little horn has been claimed by many, historians, theologians, reformers. But which interpretation survives the test? The first interpretation, old and often repeated, says the little horn is Antiochus IV Epiphanes, the Seleucid king who defiled the temple and persecuted the Jews. It sounds reasonable. The historical facts are known, the persecutions are documented, the desecration of the temple was real. Anyway, Antiochus lived 2 centuries before Jesus. Yet Jesus spoke of the time of the end as something still to come. If Daniel 8 had been fulfilled by Antiochus, Jesus would have referred to something already past. But he did not. The second problem is the time element. Hanukkah recalls 3 years of desecration, but the prophecy mentions 2,300 evenings and mornings. Neither literally nor symbolically do the numbers align. Nor does Antiochus have the scale or endurance demanded by the text. The little horn grows exceedingly great. Antiochus did not. The second interpretation identifies the little horn with Rome, imperial, papal, or both. Daniel states plainly, "Out of one of the 4 kingdoms of Greece came a little horn." Those 4 are precisely known: Macedonia, Cassander, Thrace and Asia Minor, Lysimachus, Syria, Seleucids, and Egypt, Ptolemies. Rome was born from none of them. It came from outside as a foreign force, conquering them one by one. When Rome began its conquest of Greece, Lysimachus was already gone, but the Hellenistic system still stood. The prophecy refers to that moment, when all 4 still existed. Some interpreters claim the horn arises from one of the 4 winds. That is nonsense. In all of Daniel's visions, horns arise from other horns, never from winds. But even if someone insists on placing the horn in the winds or in the sea or even in the sky, it still fails. Because Rome, both imperial and papal, never expanded exceedingly after conquering Greece. Quite the opposite. Once it conquered, it began to decline. The horn in Daniel 8 keeps growing. Rome did not. Rome was already a great horn, while the prophecy speaks of a small one, newly born from Greece. Rome came over the Greek system, not from within it. God does not make symbolic mistakes. He shows the origin precisely, Greece. A power that arose from Greece and has ruled the world ever since. The third interpretation pushes the horn into the future, calling it the final Antichrist. But Daniel 8 allows no 2,000-year gap. The sequence is strict. Medo-Persia, Greece, the little horn. No breaks, no pauses. To make the horn a future figure, detached from the Greek context, is to falsify the text. It turns Daniel's vision into a loose apocalyptic myth, not a historical prophecy. But Daniel 8 is not myth, it's timeline. Finally, the fourth explanation for the little horn in Daniel 8 shows that the horn is not a military empire. It is an intellectual empire. It is the philosophical power. A power that dictates what is true and who may speak it. The empire of reason, the kingdom of the mind. It was born in Greece, exactly where the prophecy points. It rose small, local, academic, but spread without limit, culturally, religiously, politically, educationally. It conquered everything, not by the sword, but by the word, and it cast truth to the ground. Philosophy is not a mere idea. It is a system of authority, an organized institution that defines truth through purely human means. A throne without a crown, yet obeyed by kings, popes, and people alike. The little horn replaced revelation, and God was pushed out of his own sanctuary. In Daniel 8, the term the daily comes from the Hebrew tamid, but the word sacrifice is absent. The focus is not on sacrifice, but on the symbols of God's continual presence. The light of the lampstand, the bread of the presence, the incense, the divine reality that gives the temple its meaning. The horn does not attack the sacrifices. It attacks God's presence itself. And if the presence is gone, the sacrifice means nothing. The assault is not ritual, it is theological. It replaces revelation with philosophy, God's voice with man's reason. This began in Alexandria around 280 BC. There, philosophy first touched the sacred text. It was not a translation, it was a revision. The Septuagint was not the beginning of illumination, but of corruption, the first defilement of the temple in words, the first strike against the continual. Through the Septuagint, Greek thought entered the sanctuary. It mixed divine revelation with myth. It inserted alien ideas, plural gods in Genesis, mythic cosmology, and entire new stories like Eden, the Flood, Babel, and the Test of Abraham, all imported from Greek and foreign myths. It created philosophical paradoxes that still confuse the world today. It took the Hebrew truth and Hellenized it. The result was a universalized religion. Revelation was buried, philosophy reigned. From that moment began the 2300 years, the long era during which God allowed philosophy to dominate human thought, until the time when he would lift truth again from the dust. The prophecy was sealed, meant to stay hidden until the end of that age. Now the seal breaks, and God unveils his hidden treasure. The little horn is not a political empire. It is philosophy, the power that rose from Greece, defiled revelation, and trampled truth. And its end is written, it will be broken without human hand. Not by the sword, but by truth itself.